You're watching a presentation of New York Mets 1.
It is still hard for me to believe that Clay Holmes is going to be the Mets opening day starter. Dave, have you seen enough to feel good about Holmes as a starter?
Yeah, that's the part I don't think we get talked about enough, Sal. Last year's Yankees closer is now the Mets opening day starter. Like, we toss it around like it's like a no big deal, but it's a big deal. I mean, this guy was a relief pitcher, for.
Okay. Got my notes. All right. Spring training is done. Hated that. All right. Spring training is finally done. We couldn't wait for once the 24th season. All right, restart. The 2025 spring training is finally done. Yay. As soon as the season ended last year, I thought it was going to take 1,000 years to get the 2025 season started. As soon as we got Soto, I thought this season couldn't start any sooner. And as soon as I blinked, it's here. As of recording, today is March 24th, and the season starts in 3 days. Spring training is officially over. And now we can actually look at some of the stuff that happened. With spring training done, everybody wants to talk about Azocar and Soto, which is rightfully deserved since they were both disgusting for spring training. Normally, I don't think that spring training stats really matter. I don't think that anybody does, but it's fun when you see Juan Soto letting off 4 home runs with a 149 OPS, a 298 average, and that was in 38 at bats. Not the biggest pool of information, but he seems like he's starting off pretty hot. Azocar as well with 44 at bats, batting 250. He hit 1 home run, 6 RBIs, and he got a 601 OPS. So those two guys have been kind of the stars that people wanted to talk about. A lot of people also wanted to mention that Francisco Lindor is shocker in March, late March, not looking like mid-June Lindor. He had 60 at-bats. As far as I know, I think Lindor had the most at-bats out of any Met in spring training. I could be 1,000% wrong. But from what I've seen, it seemed like Lindor had 60 and Alonso had 55, 57 at-bats, and that was the most of the Mets who took some swings. And Lindor in 60 at bats had 11 hits, batting, is that right? 200? Batting 200 on the Mendoza line beautifully. But, and I want to make sure I'm not giving him any wrong credit. I am. He's got 5 RBIs. Again, the RBIs don't really matter that much. This is spring training. But the batting average, around 60 at bats, and he's gotten 11 hits. I mean, if I was doing it, I'd be a multimillionaire, right? So I don't think there's anything to worry about. We went through this nightmare at the beginning of last season, and he turned it around in June. I think we have to remember that baseball players are very different from basketball and football players. Basketball and football players are in the gym year long, working out, keeping everything loose. And baseball players might have a reputation for taking the 3 months to relax, be with their family, be normal human beings. There's nothing wrong with that. The problems are, however, that when the season starts, you get a dozen injuries because people are just going straight from cold to thinking that they can throw 99, 100 miles an hour. Not that great. And you get things like Lindor, who seems to always be very cold. Not the end of the world. So I did all that without even introducing myself. Hi, I'm CJ, your local Mets fan here in Queens, representing New York Mets 1. Thank you for tuning in. If you're sitting here wondering what are my credentials, I have none. I have no credentials. I am a Mets fan. I've been a Mets fan since about 1995, going on 30 years of being a Mets fan, seeing every game, watching SNY as much as the next person. And I just have a lot of things that I'd like to talk about when it comes to the Mets, and not really a lot of Met fans who surround me, unfortunately. So I wanted to try to get things right this year by saying, hey, I'm a huge Mets fan. These are the things that I think are interesting to talk about. These are the things that are frustrating me. I don't have anything on the line. There's no sponsors. There's no editors. There's none of that. So I can just say what I want. And hopefully some of you guys resonate with that. Um, but yeah, this is hopefully going to be a weekly thing. Um, I say hopefully because I want to see if my psychological uh, if I can just handle doing this every week. We'll see if it's fun. If you guys enjoy it, then we'll do that. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, I wanted to get back to talking about some of this preseason stats, at least the ones that were noticeable. Talking about the Mets rotation, how it's going to look, and the upcoming games. We're going to talk about opening day itself on March 27th, the home opener, which I believe is April 4th, and just the home opener weekend in general. The one thing that I'd like to talk about that I don't see a lot of people talking about is ticket prices, when they change, what tickets are available. So these are different things that I'm hoping you guys find interesting and make what I'm doing here worth the effort. So like I said, this is my first time doing a video like this, so I want to just read some stats, if that's okay. If anybody wants to hear about Soto and his 38 at bats, batting 298, or Azocar and his 44 at bats, batting 250, those are great numbers. Like we said, Lindor, 60 at bats, batting 200. We know he's going to turn it around. There's absolutely no reason to stress. And if you have a Yankee fan in your life who's like, hey, man, I heard about Lindor. Yeah, why don't you worry about your own stuff right now, buddy? How's your starting pitcher doing? Right? How's Stanton doing? Just remind your Yankee fans when they want to mention Lindor that they're one injury away from being a minor league team. That being said, Alonso with 55 at bats has hit 2 home runs. Uh, who cares? I mean, great. He hit his home runs, but he's batting 255, which is pretty good. There's not a lot to worry about. He's got 10 RBIs. Yes, he's got 10 RBIs. He's looking good for the spring training. I'm enjoying it. The one person that everybody thinks is probably going to be the huge breakout star this year, and it kind of sounds like Groundhog's Day to me a little bit, just a little bit of Groundhog's Day, Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty, the king of AAA, the jester of the minor leagues, for the impossible ability to be one of the most dominant. He is Juan Soto of AAA. That is a fact. He's a Juan Soto of AAA, and then when he comes to the minor leagues, he's like bad, just not great. And I want him to succeed. I think we all want him to succeed. When you see Beatty playing third or playing second or wherever he's going, when you see Beatty fielding and he's got the smile on his face, when he's swinging and he's got the big smile on his face, you want to root for him. You want to see him in and out every day. So Brett Beatty is doing fantastic. If you guys wanted to know, batting 353. Excuse me. Ooh, 353 in 51 at bats with 4 home runs. So he's tied to Soto. That's fantastic with 11 RBIs and a 1.186 OPS. So he's actually doing better than Soto. And spring training stats are what they are. If this is symbolizing anything, it's probably symbolizing that he's going to have a great March, hopefully great April. Predictions for him being that he might get 3-4 home runs by the end of April and still get demoted. I just don't think that he's going to have it when it comes time for June, and I think someone like Acuna might, but that's, again, I have no credentials. I am not a scout. I just see patterns, and I mention when I see a pattern. Cunha, as we said, he's got 52 at bats, batting 250. He's got 5 RBIs and a 573 OPS. So he's doing okay. He's not really hitting too much for power. He is getting on base, though, so we have those things working for us. And honestly, Acuna is one of my personal favorites of the young rookies/prospects that are here now. And I think that he's doing, I mean, as soon as we got his name from the trade, like with Verlander, was it, or Scherzer? With either one of those, as soon as we got that trade, and I heard that name Acuna, I was like, okay, if he's even a percentage as good as his brother, maybe we have something. And every time I see him, I'm excited. I got his jersey. So I'm going to be looking forward to seeing him that day. And my honorable mention, just because he's a fan favorite in this house, will be Jesse Winker. Fun fact, his nickname is Bird. Bird. Jesse Winker, nicknamed Bird. 34 at bats, batting 265, no home runs, 3 RBIs, but a 758 OPS. So he's getting some doubles down, but he's not really had a lot of opportunities to drive people in. This is spring training, not something I'm worried about. What I'm more curious to see is when the final lineup is finished, what that looks like. And now we're turning the page. All right. So, with spring training stats out of the way, I think it's important that we talk about spring training injuries, at least the ones that are going to be carrying over into the season. It's my understanding that Brandon Nimmo and Starling Marte are fine, that they're going to be ready for the opening day. So, a little bit of a hallelujah for that. Unfortunately, I know that a lot of people wanted Canario to make the roster, and a lot of people think that Canario deserved to be on the roster. However, with Marte healthy and nobody looking to trade for Marte right now, there isn't enough room for Canario. And with, unfortunately, Acuna being an infield utility that Canario cannot be, that means we can't send Acuna down because we need you more. I'm sorry, Canario. But to the injuries that actually matter, Sean Manaea, with his oblique injury, is expected to be out until at least April 15th. Frankie Montas, with his lat injury, is expected to be out until May 15th. Jeff McNeil, with an oblique injury of his own, is expected out until April 11th. These are the earliest that people are expecting them to be back. It could get pushed a day or two. We'll see. Mauricio, with his knee injury, is expected April 1st. I don't know if that's an intentional. Yeah, he'll be back April 1st. Sure, Mauricio. That $700,000 automobile that just can't keep all its tires in the same direction. But we're going to stay positive for Mauricio because when he hits balls, they tattoo the wall. And Alvarez, with his hand injury, is going to be expected out until at least April 25th. I know that a lot of people are very much in love with Alvarez, so getting him back sooner rather than later would be in everybody's interest. And of course, to our two backup catchers, Luis Torrens and his support, they have been, from what I've heard, knocking it out this spring. Unfortunately, really couldn't watch as many spring training games as I wanted to because they were not televised, and I don't live in Florida. So I had to take everything based on the Anthony DiComo faucet. So when Anthony DiComo talks and you just get as much information about the game as you can have, uh, then that's life. Speaking of Anthony DiComo, we do have 3 reports from him regarding the team news, being one, Dedniel Nunez is dead in the water. He's getting sent back down to Syracuse. And this is nothing to do with his skill. This has nothing to do with anything really, other than that he was injured for most of the second half of last season. And management wants to ease him back into the bullpen. So they are going to send him down to Syracuse, get him a few more reps down there, and expect him to be back probably, hopefully, by May, June. Who knows? But Daniel Nunez is back down in Syracuse, and that was reported by Anthony DiComo, who also reported that the Mets' starting rotation has been set according to Carlos Mendoza. And I don't know what's happening anymore. This is a continuation of the playoffs where Mendoza just decided who was going to be the starting pitcher that day, and we all kind of just went, who does this make sense to? Let him cook. Let him cook. But who does this make sense to? It makes sense to Mendoza. So this starting 5 may not make sense to me, may not make sense to you, but it makes sense to Mendoza, and I don't think that we should doubt his decision making. So starting number 1, our quote-unquote ace to lead off the season is going to be Clay Holmes, the Yankees closer from last year. who struggled in the postseason, to say the least. Had his ups, had mostly downs, but he was their closer. Now he's our opening day starter. I don't know why. I don't have the answers, and I'm sorry. I wish I did. I wish I had the answers for you guys. But Clay Holmes is the starting pitcher, and Kodai Senga is number 5. Yeah, I'm sure Kodai Senga is getting some extra time. Something. Maybe they're just like extra rubbing his legs so they don't explode on the mound. Who knows? But Kodai Senga, like literally everybody's favorite pitcher other than Sean Manaea in this current 2025 roster, at least from what I'm seeing. If you don't love Kodai Senga, something's wrong with your soul. He's our number 5. Holmes is number 1. Tyler McGill is number 2. David Peterson is number 4. I know I'm doing this in a weird order because like I'm looking and I don't believe that what I'm seeing makes sense. David Peterson might have been the best pitcher we had in the postseason. I'm sure, yes, this is not October. This is not September. We are months past all that. He could have gotten extra grease stuck in his fingers from eating too many ribs. I don't know. But all I know is that when David Peterson was our closer, David Peterson was our middle relief guy. David Peterson was our spear against the monster that was the Phillies, the spear against the demon that was the Dodgers. And he's 4th on the rotation with McGill 2nd. That's reality. So Clay Holmes is number 1. He's going to pitch day 1, opening day. Tyler McGill will be pitching day 2. He's our 2nd starter. And what I wanted to talk about with these guys, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe it's some kind of secret code and I'm going to accidentally be the super swollen brain genius who figured this out. But there's been a lot of reporting about Clay Holmes and Tyler McGill getting to spend time with Johan Santana. At least during spring training, Johan Santana helped Clay Holmes and Tyler McGill with with their changeups. He showed them how to use his changeup. He taught them his changeup so that they could take it and utilize it. And from what I was able to see from some Clay Holmes games, it's a nasty changeup, but they call it a kick change. And I just wanted to be the guy who was like, hey, you're not crazy if you think it's a circle changeup. It is a circle changeup. And I don't know if the Mets were lying and they know it's a circle changeup, but they're calling it a kick changeup just so that other teams will be like, a kick changeup? What is it? Oh, 22,300 rotations to the left. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they just want to be fancy and they think that calling it a circle change is too boomer. But it's a circle change for anyone who hears them call it a kick change. It moves like a circle change. It's held like the circle change. If anybody has seen it and their brain said, actually, that's a palm change, leave it in the comments. Correct me. I am, like I said, I'm a nobody. I just watch way too much baseball. And I just wanted to comment about that. If you guys get confused by them talking about Tyler McGill's kick change or Clay Holmes' kick change, it's what the heck is a kick change? It's a circle changeup. It's a type of pitch. It's a type of changeup. You hold it in the palm of your hand and you do that with those fingers on the side of the ball. And the break goes, if you're right-handed, the break will go down towards the right-hand side. It's a circle change. They're calling it a kick change. That is my TED Talk for the pitches. Number 3, with a new pitch being the cutter, is Griffin Canning, who I know nothing about. I know nothing about him. I have no idea. You guys can tell me because I heard that we signed him. I don't think that I got to see him pitch once in spring. Maybe he got shellacked in a game that I saw. I can't confirm to you guys. So if anyone can explain to me who Griffin Canning is and why he deserves a spot above David Peterson, I will be so joyous. So those are our 1 through 5s. Clay Holmes, Tyler McGill, Griffin Canning, David Peterson, and Kodai Senga. And the last thing that I want to talk about that Anthony Tacoma was reporting on was that Diaz's fastball is down. His velocity for his four-seam has been averaging between 93 to 95, with him commenting that this is not something for anybody to worry about because by the time the season starts, he expects this pitch to climb back up. I've been one of the belief that you perform how you practice. So if Edwin Diaz is throwing 93 on his four seam all spring, I don't see him starting the season off with it going above 96 at least immediately. But I'm not a trainer. I do think that the Mets have some of the best training staff and medical staff of baseball from what I've seen and heard and the recovery of these players and the improvement of our pitchers. I believe in them, but with Diaz velo being 93 to 95, which is a full 5 to 6 miles an hour less than it was last year, and him just getting older, I think that the risk of him injuring himself trying to rev back up to 100 is something that we need to look out for. And we also need to remember that at best, Diaz is $100 million two-pitch pitcher with a slider in the low 90s and a fastball that needs to be above 98 in order to set that slider up. So, with that in mind, while I'm sure Anthony DeComo is 1,000% correct because this guy's been doing it his whole life, I think that there should be some concern, at least until we see otherwise, that the velo is not where we need it to be. And if somebody's going to tell me, well, I was at the Florida spring training game and he threw 155, well, it wasn't aired on TV, so I couldn't see it for myself, and there were no stats for for today's game, for the last game of the spring training. There was no information about him breaking some milestone with how far he was throwing his fastball. So right now, look, Edwin, if you can figure out how to get your velo up there without hurting your shoulder and without jumping, um, the Met community would be very grateful. And thank you for everything that you did for the postseason. My cardiologist loves you. So, with those out of the way, that's all the Mets news that I actually have for today. But the one thing that I wanted to finish with is just some ticket information. So, for any of you who are thinking about going to opening day out in Houston, I wanted to just give you guys some ticket information about what was going on there. And for anyone who was thinking about going to the home openers here against the Blue Jays, same deal. So, like I said before, opening day is going to be against the Astros at their newly minted Daika Park. Is it Daikin Park? Excuse me. Daikin Park. This is going to be Thursday, March 27th at 3:10 p.m. Now, as of recording today, March 24th, approximately 5:30 p.m., there are 113 seats still available for opening day in Houston. 113 seats, ranging from the highest that I was able to see was there. The Mets at Citi Field have the highest level being the 500 level. In the Astros, it seems to be the 400s is the highest, and tickets are around $50, $49 to get the 400 level for opening day. So there's still 113 seats. That's if you're just going by yourself. $49 for the 400 level, and if you wanted field level, there are still seats available. They are in the hundreds. In the field level, which is the 100s, it is $365 for a ticket. For opening day, the Mets versus the Astros, for field level, $365 as of March 24th. Those are your ticket prices for opening day against the Astros, the main opening day. Now, for the Mets home opener against the Blue Jays, that'll be Friday, April 4th at 3:10 as well. This is obviously going to be at Citi Field. The opener is sold out. Sorry to tell you guys. You might be able to find tickets for the game on secondhand ticket sites. I personally don't even know any secondhand ticket sites, so I couldn't help you with that. I do apologize, and I will get onto those secondhand ticket sites to learn how that works and find those prices and get that to you. But for opening day, there's not even standing room. Again, you might be able to find someone on Reddit, Facebook, who is selling their tickets. They couldn't make it. But other than that, your best bet is to sit outside of the very beautiful Citi Field on a very beautiful day and listen to the very beautiful voice of our radio broadcasters. Or you can go home and listen to the amazing voices of our TV broadcasters. But opening day at Citi Field, the home opener, if you don't have a ticket right now, I don't think you're going to get a ticket legally. But with luck, you will. And now for the Saturday and Sunday that are following the Mets home opener. So our home opener is Friday the 4th. The ticket information for Saturday the 5th and Sunday the 6th are as follows. So the Saturday game is going to be a 7:10 game. That's when the first pitch is going to be. And there is a promotion for Juan Soto pins. So for your nice little lapel, I might try to get myself, I hope I didn't break the mic. Might get myself a Juan Soto pin for my lapel here. That's going to be Saturday the 5th for 7:10. There are still 282 seats available for the day after opening day. So the Saturday game at 7:10, as of recording right now, has over 280 seats, with the 500s, the cheapest seats, being around $39.50, and the field level seats, the 100s, being $688 Soto bucks. Woo! I'll say that again just in case I broke my microphone. If you would like to sit in the 500s, I don't call them nosebleeds because at Citi Field, the 500s actually are a fantastic view. It's not Yankee Stadium. This is a good stadium. From the 500s, that's $49.50. Oh, I'm sorry. $39.50. So $40 gets you a seat in the 500s. To get down to field level is going to ring you 688 Soto bones. Whew. And Sunday, the 6th, that game is going to be at 1:40. Remember that this is the weekend for the opening day weekend at Citi Field. The giveaway will be a 2025 schedule picture frame. I'm assuming that those words are self-explanatory. It's a frame that you put your pictures in, and it has the Mets schedule on it. The more I think about this thing, the more confusing it sounds, but I want one, so I'm going to try to go Sunday, April 6th at 1:40 for that picture frame. There are still 260 seats available for the Sunday game against the Blue Jays on opening weekend. 260 seats available, with field level seats going for $563.50. I believe this is with fees included. Fun fact, if you live in Manhattan or if you just want to take a trip to Midtown, you can go to the Mets, I believe it's just called Mets House on, well, you're going to have to Google the address, Mets House. You can go there, find some amazing merchandise that they sell, and if you buy tickets, which you can buy in that store, there are no fees. And I believe through the rest of the month, they're giving you a 10% discount on things in the store, at least for the rest of March. Don't quote me on it, but that was what was told to me the many times I harassed that store for purchases of products. As you can see, I am a very big Mets fan who loves a good deal. So that being said, the last thing that I didn't even get to say, the 500 for Sunday the 6th at 1:40, the 500 level, those seats are $23.75. So if you'd like to go see Juan Soto against the Blue Jays, against Guerrero Jr., and you don't really think that you had enough money, guess what you do? You have plenty of dollars to go see Juan Soto make baseballs cry. And I recommend you do that because at least for Saturday and Sunday, there are some cool promotions available. And there are still plenty of seats available. So don't think that, every seat is sold out and the seats that are available are $700,000-$800,000. Not yet. The casino isn't built yet. So right now, the deals that are available are actually way better than you might be thinking. And with the lineup as good as it is, I would want to go see these guys while they're all healthy and while the vibes are still immaculate. You know what I mean? So I think that is everything that I wanted to say for day one. I really do appreciate all of you guys who clicked on the video and heard what I had to say for about 30 minutes. Yikes. But there is one last promotional thing that I would like to talk about, only because I know a lot of Mets fans, and whenever I go to a game, a lot of Mets fans don't know this. So I encourage you to get the MLB Ballpark app. Oh, I'm not sponsored. Forgot to say that. Not sponsored. Who would want to sponsor me anyway? Look at me. I'm like, don't worry about that. I'm not sponsored, and if I was, I'd legally have to tell you guys, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. I recommend getting the MLB Ballpark app for one reason: the reward program. When you go onto MLB, the app, the ticket app, MLB Ballpark, whatever, you can set which team is your favorite team in the tabs. But when you click on your favorite team that you set up, it's going to take you to their own homepage. On that homepage is what for us is called Mets Connect. I guarantee you will have an amazing time if you decide to click on that button, because that will allow you to get rewards for every single purchase that you make at the stadium. If you buy tickets, as soon as you get to the stadium, you're getting reward points. If you buy drinks, clothing, memorabilia, all those things are adding towards points. Who cares? What do those points really matter? Okay, this year, points involve things like being able for you yourself to go to a Mets training camp. That's a free reward on the rewards program. 7 days, 6 nights at a Mets training camp. Oh, but also you can get some free chicken tenders. You could get a free Mr. Softy. They give away free buy one get one tickets deals. You and 3 guests on the house ticket deals. Yeah, I don't see enough people knowing about the Mets Connect feature in the MLB Ballpark app. And like I said, I'm not sponsored at all, but this is a great deal that not a lot of people really know about. And I'm hoping that the more people get onto it, the more people using the rewards, hopefully the better the rewards will be next year. But yeah, if you are actually interested in being a part of the Mets training camp, which will be taking place next year, you should download the Ballpark app, which you should already have anyway to be buying tickets. And you need to get onto the Mets Connect and set up your Mets Connect account. It's the same email address and password as the Ballpark app. So you don't got to break your brain about that. And just start getting some free rewards. Because when I see you, if you be like, hey, you're that weird, cringy guy. Yeah, you saw my videos. Where's your Mets app? Yeah, it'll be awkward for both of us. But I'm CJ. At least that's as far as you're getting with my personal information today. This has been episode 1 of New York Mets 1. And I just want to thank you guys again. And if you have any opinions, if you have any comments, if you have any insults, I'm a New Yorker. I could take them. I know I look silly. I'm wearing a blazer. Do you have a blazer? Tell me in the comments. Have a good one.
It is still hard for me to believe that Clay Holmes is going to be the Mets opening day starter. Dave, have you seen enough to feel good about Holmes as starter?
Yeah, that's the part I don't think we get talked about enough, Sal. Last year's Yankees closer is now the Mets opening day starter. Like, we toss it around like it's like a no big deal, but it's a big deal. I mean, this guy was a relief pitcher, he started out as a starter in Pittsburgh, then became...
This has been a presentation of New York Mets 1.